This is a video about reinstalling the NCY Performance Drive Face. I've been using it for a couple of months now, and one thing I've seen on the videos online is it doesn't show how to tighten it correctly before you tighten the belt correctly before you actually use the impact to put it on. So I have been switching out I've been trying out different sliders for several months as well. I have about 7 or 8 different weights and brands I've been trying out. So I'm going to be putting in, right now I have 5.5 and 6, but I'm putting in 6 grams, so I've been getting a lot faster with just 6, but I was using some cheaper Chinese ones that just to test them out, and now I'm just getting the Dr. Pulley 6 grams in. So I'm going to go ahead and change those out. And I'm using the Pulley variator kit with the stock Boss, which does end up making it quite a little bit faster, about 2 miles per hour faster than I was getting previously, instead of using the Pulley Boss. So I'm going to go ahead and open up these, and the easy thing about the Dr. Pulleys is they say where it says pat, it's not going to focus, but where it says pat on it is where you're going to have it sitting up against the drive face, so sitting up against the part. So I'm just going to be, there's already a billion videos about how to do this, so I'm just going to install them real quick. And the 6 grams are white or ivory colored, while the 5.5 and 5 and lower seem to be, they're black plastic. I've also been using Zytomer brand sliders. No, is it Zytomer? It's Zixel. This one starts with an X, the Zixel brand sliders, and they've been very good, but their tolerances aren't as tight. They've been maybe 0.1 or 0.2 grams off of their advertised weight. So I'm going back to Dr. Pulley for these. But I was previously running, these are a mixture of 5, you make like a propeller shape to do opposing sides of 5 and 5.5, which has worked out really well. I get super fast acceleration, but not as high as top speed. So I've got sliders in, gonna sit that back in there. And yeah, this is the stock Boss on the Pulley kit, so this is maybe it's like a couple millimeters shorter, so the belt does sit higher. I'll put this back in, put the belt back on. So I'm cutting the video just so I could make sure I had everything set right. And well, I also had used a little bit of Sharpie to mark where the belt was sitting, and it looks like it hasn't. It's sitting a couple millimeters higher at top speed than it was, because it'll rub off the Sharpie depending on how high it sits. So you can use that to kind of tell, but I'm just making sure everything's sliding on correctly at the moment. So I got dry face on. There shouldn't be any threading covered up. Now, the nut. So now this is on. So what you shouldn't just go ahead and stock at this right now. At this point, see how this isn't moving when this belt turns. You need to move it and adjust it and keep hand tightening it, because it's going to get looser every time you push the belt. See, it's getting significantly looser. I'm tightening it multiple times, and it's getting looser every time. Pulling the belt, and I keep doing this until I can't do it anymore, and this will make the belt sit tighter. So every time I do this, it's getting looser. The one time I didn't actually do this tightening process, with the NCY flywheel, I would just not get any traction here on the belt, and it would just skip for about 10 seconds. Not 10, but more like 5 seconds before I got any forward acceleration at all. So if you don't do this tightening with the NCY flywheel, it can really, you'll just not move for a few seconds until it actually hits some grips, because the belt's too loose around it. And to be honest, it has given me no increase in top speed or performance really, but it does make acceleration a little bit faster because everything's lighter, like from 0 to 30. So now I tightened it as tight as I could. There should be a good amount of threading still visible, a couple of millimeters of threading visible outside the nut. The nut shouldn't be like sticking out or flush with the threading. There should be threading showing, and that you can actually feel, like maybe one whole thread. Now I'll use the impact knife, so I'll just tighten it on there, and now you can see there's even almost a little bit more in that side, but now this is fully tight, everything is moving, nothing is loose and slippery. And I have this 6 grams in, so I'm going to put away my 5 gram mix. I could just arrange to show what they look like when you're mixing weights. See the 5 and 5.5 grams, they use different metals because of the different weights. So this is how they would be arranged in there if you're doing a mix of 5.5 and 5 Dr. Pulley sliders, which is actually a super fast acceleration, but I get 2 miles per hour faster if I use 6 grams. So now there's already a lot of videos about how to put this back on, but I'll just do it anyway. Because when I bought my Ruckus, a lot of these nuts were rusted out or over torqued and broken. I actually replaced them. I looked up the I think it's M6 2.5 centimeter. Anyway, I just bought they're actually usually 8mm sockets, but I bought 10mm sockets, but they're exact same threading, exact same size. So I don't need to switch out socket bits. So I found out there's a little bit of corrosion on one of these nuts, and it wasn't going back in. It's the big one that sits on top. That's a washer that goes into this, attached to the air cleaner. So I just used WD-40 and got it in there. And now the rest of these are supposed to tighten a small star pattern, but just because I've got a little bit of, it just doesn't look great. I'm using WD-40 to, I'm not going to use, I'm going to hand tighten these later. I'm just using like 5 pounds of torque here. So these aren't even really being fully tightened yet. I'm just going in because I don't like to tighten stuff a whole lot with the electric drill. So yeah, so I have it set about 5. These things are going to be pretty loose. And this one looks kind of rusty. I'm gonna, yeah. The problem is these have the ones that came with stock were starting to rust, and now these are my replacements are starting to rust as well. I did order OEM replacement Honda screws bolts for this as well, but even they seem to not stand up to the rain super well. But I'll probably change these back out too. Ooh, I forgot one thing is there's a brake line cable thing here, a bracket. Mine stock didn't have this. I had to order this from Partzilla or one of the other Honda parts stores, and this bolt needs to go into this bracket to hold the brake line up. Now you can tighten it. And this is still kind of rusty. I'm going to replace all of these with the OEM Honda parts, because I ordered them months ago and I have them sitting around, but it's just easier to install all 10mm all the way around. Yep, even this one's a little bit messy, but sprayed it off and it seems okay. Now I'm just going to use my little socket wrench with an extension and hand tighten these. I don't want to mess with. When I had this stock, they were so over torqued that several of them were actually split in half, and I had to use a drill to get the pieces back out. So I'm very careful trying to hand tighten everything rather than use a lot of force. And you can take the kickstart off when you do this, but it's not necessary. I also replaced the kickstart bolt because it was not in great condition. But the way that I replaced these, all these are 2mm now rather than the 8mm set. Because all these you'd usually be 8. This would be 10. I think this might have been 10 as well. But the rest that actually go into the case are 8mm. And while I had these out, I was just going to go over all the slider combinations I've tried, not counting the ones that are currently in the Ruckus. Came with stock. These stock rollers here. I could get, I mean, I had a 2012 Ruckus. They put new rollers in there, not new, but better rollers than it had in there before I bought it, and they're pretty worn down, but they were still good. These were the 6.9s that came with the Polini variator kit. The Polini variator kit is currently what's installed in my Ruckus, so this is a stock variator, stock drive face. I kind of like the stock drive face because you can just take it off with this tool without having to, it's like $10 rather than having to use the impact wrench. But these are the setups I've used previously. So I did the stocks, I was getting 40, but very, very bad acceleration. I didn't, because they are around 7 grams, I think, between 6 and 7. The 6.9s, because I got so good results with sliders, I didn't even try these 6.9 rollers. So I just went straight to the sliders, and the results kept getting better as I experimented a whole lot. These are the 6 gram, why can I never remember this name? Zixel. The 6 gram Zixel sliders that, they seem to wear down unusually fast, and the margin of error for the weight is about 0.2 off from what it should be. They were still nice, but I wouldn't want to use these as a permanent. They're like $4 for a set on AliExpress, or I think they're like around $10 on Amazon. Which, I mean, it's nice because it has 2-day shipping, but they're good for testing, but not for what I want to leave in there. The rest of these are Dr. Pulley's, the 5.5 bar mix that I've been running for a long time, which was really good. And then these were 5 gram, which I did 5 gram alone. Really good acceleration, but only about, I think, 38 at the top speed, no matter what. No matter how long a stretch you're on, 38 was the top speed. There are no hills where I live. Everything is flat, sea level, almost at sea level. Maybe 9 feet off of sea level, completely flat, no hills. So I have no downhill experience at all, but with these I was getting 38. 5.5, I was getting 39, 40 very occasionally. If I was going maybe about on a flat over almost 2 miles, I could get to 40 with the 5.5s, which is still not as good as the heavier rollers it came with, but the acceleration was amazingly better, because you don't want cars waiting behind you as you try to accelerate, which, I mean, it still happens, but I mean, I was getting from 0 to 30 extremely fast, and it was a night and day difference. So that's why I stuck to the sliders instead of rollers. And I tried the 6 grams by themselves, which I currently have the 6 gram Dr. Pulley's installed, 6 grams Itomer. That's where I was getting to up to 42 with these, and these were the less than $12 Amazon ones. Again, this is the fastest I've ever gotten on my Ruckus at 42 miles per hour. I think if I was on a longer stretch, I could have gotten to 43. I did tuck my legs up, and I have my helmet on that has a visor in it. Everything, if you're tucked up, it does seem to go faster. So these were actually the best out of all of them. But yeah, I did like the acceleration with the 5.5 and 6 gram, 5.5 and 5 gram mix that I was using. It's probably the best middle ground between everything I ever had, and so I really like these, but I just want to get the top speed more than anything, and the 6 grams are what I'm getting the best top speed with. As far as the Polini variator kit goes, I really didn't notice a difference between the Polini variator kit and the stock. The only thing that made a big difference was using the Polini variator kit with the Boss that was from the stock, and not using a Polini Boss. So I think I have the Boss in here somewhere. that I could show the difference between the two. Let's see if I can find it. I mean, I keep all my Ruckus stuff in. Okay, so this is the Boss that comes with the Polini kit, and it's just very, very, very slightly longer than the stock Boss. And I measured it with calipers. I forget the exact measurement, but it was like maybe 2 millimeters of difference. But the thing is, this being longer means the belt sits lower. If it's shorter, the drive face sits closer and the belt sits a little bit higher. You know, it doesn't seem like it's going to make a huge amount of difference, but that's what made me able to accelerate and get to a slightly better top speed. I mean, again, for most people, 1 or 2 miles an hour won't make a difference, but when you're in the kind of traffic that I'm in, that could actually make a pretty big difference. Especially the acceleration speed is what makes the big difference, is being able to straight pull out and pass cars at red lights, rather than waiting for you to kind of push off and get to your top speed when, you know, people just aren't patient. So I just, more of a safety thing. I want to be able to accelerate super fast, and that replacing the Polini Boss with a stock Boss, but still using the Polini variator kit is what got me good results.